trust this year, right?
Next year.
Be in the school budget, we replace the police officer school will be in your budget for next July.
I believe so.
So this year we're paying it out of the trust fund.
That's going to be 3/4 of the year, is it? From the school pays 3/4 of the year, and the town's going to pay the other.
Well, that's how it was this year. I don't really, maybe Kelly can help that. That's how, I think it'll be a little different next year.
Yeah.
We did it this year that way.
But we're using, like I said, the security trust, expendable trust.
But it'll be in your budget, John?
The expenditure has to.
Yeah, the expense has to come out of my budget because the officer has to be in my direct
Okay.
supervision. So the way it works is I was indicating is that for the first 6 months of the year, from January to June, that trust will take care of the funds 100%. And then starting in September, it will be a 75-25 split.
Okay, yeah, that was the security expendable trust fund that was set up 5-6 years ago.
That's when we voted on 3 months ago to approve that.
Right.
Which that to go.
So that obviously explains the large increase in salaries, and obviously again for the second year in a row, we've included the raises within the line rather than separating them out as we have done in the past.
Okay.
So the K-9 program is going to be new next year?
Yes, what we have done is Officer Briggs has done an outstanding job in researching this. I think it's a great idea for the town. Specifically with the timing, what we've been able to do is to, between donations and matching grants was $10,000. At the start of the program, it's going to cost about $11,500. So we're asking for the $1,500 for the remainder of the year. And then, of course, what we would be asking for in the future is to add that to an operating budget that would cost about $2,500 a year for the K-9. That would include food, so forth, and things like that bills. But Officer Briggs has done an outstanding job researching this. I can give you all the numbers that support it. I think it's an enormous community policing tool. The dog that we would be getting is a Labrador Retriever. It's not a bite dog. So this is the dog that can come into the schools and hang out with the kids, and we feel relatively safe that there'll be no incidences with the K-9. Wolfboro has one that does wonders for their police department and their community policing outreach. I think it's right for the time for us. We have an abundance of calls. Matter of fact, over the last 5 years, we should have or could have called out a K-9 about 233 times. We only called them out 33. And the reason for that is the time that it takes from a neighboring department to get their K-9 to our town. Sometimes just isn't worth the wait. And those 33 times, I can say that predominantly most of those are to search for people. So that we really don't have a choice there. But Officer Briggs, if we were to go forward with this program, is the chosen K-9 officer. She was right in town. She's a 5-year officer with us. I support her 100%. I think this speaks volumes to retention as well, which our department has traditionally had a problem with. And I think this goes a long way when we add programs like this. It vests the officer in our department, makes them feel like they belong here and that they're part of it. They can do some good things. So I think not only community policing outreach, but I get to retain Officer Briggs, a spectacular officer. She's been there actually almost 6 years this year. And I think that will go a long way with retaining her. And the price is right.
So what, I mean, would this be for detecting drugs and explosives as well as, I mean, full range of K-9,
Yes.
the operations and services?
It would be predominantly for search and rescue, which we have a lot of calls for. But it might be used for search and seizure purposes, such as a vehicle search, if a search warrant is granted by a judge, or if there's even consent given by a motorist to search their vehicle. Sometimes a dog can detect from outside a vehicle. It might alert an officer to different types of drugs, which might have the officer pull back because we know the dangers of fentanyl, carfentanil, and their dangerous effects on people. And a dog can certainly detect those much earlier than we can. So yes, it will be used for some searches.
Thank you.
time in Brookfield with our offices, but, you know, historically, we charge them about 12%, which is based on population. Is that about how much time our officers are spending there? Do they spend a lot of time there, much more than the 12% that we're getting paid? You
I would
have
say
any idea?
I would say no.
Okay.
We do have directed patrols once in a while for traffic enforcement.
Yeah.
But the volume of calls that we get in Brookfield is far less, I would say less than 12%. But on average, I think with traffic going through the town, I would say we spend, probably between 8 and 12% time over there. But that's not a constant either. Wakefield, it carries far more alcohol than demands far more of the time. And where we've only got 2 officers on usually at a time taking calls, Wakefield takes precedence on a lot. Now, if there's a call in Brookfield, we don't pull from Brookfield to go to Wakefield, we use our mutual aid agreements with neighboring towns. But I would say that that's justified.
I was curious with Brookfield, do you have with the same level of service over there? I know like in Wakefield, sometimes you see the speed trailers set up in different places to let people know what the speed limit is, then you'll apparently come back later and maybe issue tickets to people who are speeding. Now, do you have situations that you set that up over in Brookfield as well in certain areas to?
Yes, we do. We actually just had it over there a couple of weeks ago. We see a lot of complaints on it, but it was a little different nature. Not that the fact that it was there and it wasn't facing the right way, but no, we do utilize it over there. And with the grant that we received this year, now that 2 radar trailers, you can probably see the one in front of the PD now is a message board. Shows your speed and you can give a message. And that's not just limited to speed-related things. You can say 4th of July fireworks or what have you. So we do have 2 speed trailers now.
Okay, thank you.
I saw your advertising for animal control officer part-time. Is that built into this full-time salaries?
It is not. We have our own separate ACO budget, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
After public safety.
Some public health.
Yeah.
So no, that's always been a separate budget.
Does anybody else have any questions for the chief on this section?
He's doing a good job. I'll move the 91, 312.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Top of page 6 on the public safety would be civil defense, and that's still the chief's area. It's at the top of the page. The one line for 2250.
We got some new items here, the stipends,
Yes. Looks like maybe $2,000.
$2,000.
For emergency management director.
How much time do you spend on this?
A lot. It's, and I think our administrator gets many of the same emails that I do. We probably get between 10 and 30 emails a day just on that subject that we do have to go through. And then, again, the town administrator and I are involved in the emergency operations plan right now. That's labor intensive at this time of the year. It's done every 5 years. We're being very proactive on this front right now. Not to say that it wasn't active in the past, but we're doing a lot more. I'm working at securing a $12,000 grant for the emergency management fund based on the room that we built on the Oakdale last year, beginning of this year. So it does take some time. It does.
Anybody else have any questions on civil defense and emergency management?
Move along.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Moving right along, public safety building. Chief.
Who's up again?
Next section, we'll just move down one section on the same
I
page.
got 2 down and 2 to go.
I just wanted to mention, we have a couple of new people again, that I don't necessarily hear which one you vote, that if you don't vote now, no, I'm going to assume you're voting yes. Okay, so make sure if you're voting against it, that you know. I'll speak up, okay? Thank you. All right.
They all sound like that.
Okey-doke. So I guess the big question is, how's the upstairs being finished off working out? I mean, that was a pretty big project to get that done.
It's terrific. And I can speak for the fire side there. They're getting a lot of resistance out of it. It's been a tremendous help for us organizing our records, our evidence room. The lieutenant is up there now, that's his office, he can actually get right one up there. So it's worked out wonderful for us to be able to have locker rooms, showers, the small gym that we've got up there, it's terrific.
And so that you have an evidence room now, to lock your evidence and secure it, it's not on the floor and the tires anymore.
We've got it almost up to where I'd like to see it. We have lockers on the outside that are one way, so when an officer takes evidence and they put it in that locker, they can't get it back out. The only way to get it is to go into the evidence room and retrieve it through the wall. That was part of what we spent some funds on. And we have a ventilation system in there now. Anybody who has ever been in the police department when we had a large marijuana seizure, it was not vented well in the past and it stopped.
Yeah.
So thankfully we put that in there. We do have a safe in there now for disposal of alcohol at seas after a certain period of time. The other thing I'll be looking forward to when we talk about this is this video system and key fob system, so it's 100% secure. Not that it isn't now, but you're right to have those security cameras on there, and it's more to protect us than to protect us. But no, it's going very, very well.
I mean, you could lose cases because of a problem with the chain of custody of evidence, right, or something.
We absolutely can. Look at what happened in Massachusetts. So yeah, and that's why we want to put those cameras in.
Are we getting new computers down there, a server?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe the town administrator had that business, because we had a conversation last week. I didn't know that we were under the impression that it was flipped, that we were getting ours in 20, and the town administrator was getting ours in 19, but it's actually the other way around. And I believe that it's going to be on the release program now. So that's certainly adds to that cost up front right now, but I think that was the desire of the selectmen was to go to the release program.
So this line actually includes the annual support for all his workstations and laptops, 3 replacement workstations, the server, antivirus, offsite backup, and there's $3,696 in here for support for the fireside and one workstation replacement for them. So it's all lease now. So if he gets a server this year, which would be $11,133 for his server, and I need one next year, which would have been $11,133. And now we're just going to lease everything on a 5-year program. Everything will get replaced. The only thing it does not include is the 3 laptops he needs and the 3 laptops for the selectman's office. Those will still go into the technology fund more.
Thank you.
And we're doing repeaters, right, this year? That's in the line, too. Radio repeaters?
That is in that line. There is an increase in that from Mr. Kane. We've been at the same set rate for the last 5 years, so the increase this year. But that is on that line. It's 5,100.
No key fob?
No, no. Not yet. Yes, sir.
Is the EOC at the public safety building?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Have you contacted Homeland Security or Emergency Management about a potential grant for updating and replacing computers in the laptop?
We have not done that yet. But it is on.
It's about 50% cost, one-for-one dash.
It actually is on my list. I've actually spoken to the sheriff in the past about that. Just trying to get up to speed with the transition from to go and April to get up to speed, but that is in my future.
Any other questions on this? Oh, yes.
A couple meetings ago, someone had mentioned something about repeaters potentially having conflict between the analog and digital conversion for the communication FCC rules. Any problems down the road you see coming up that could be handed off earlier?
Not that I'm aware of, but this is why we pay the $5,100 a year, so that we don't have to worry about that. That is on Mr. King, and he takes on that responsibility. So we had a discussion. If something goes down, he's the guy that will call to come to my tower and do what he's got to do. So I don't anticipate problems. He's very, very knowledgeable in that area, so I don't anticipate problems.
Any more questions? Dave, you did something. Anyone, someone make a motion?
So moved, and I will leave.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Public health, animal control, page 1.
Told you like this, big
Good night for you, Chief. Tony puts all this together so perfectly.
So
Thank you, Tom.
So it's a little bit less this year.
Do we have any funding to apply for it?
We have not filled it yet. I anticipate, hoping to fill it by the first of the year. But I did, if you'll see, I took, it was budgeted for 32 hours a week. I took, cut that down to 24. And so that drops the budget by about $6,000.
So your officers have to handle the animal control?
Excuse me, they have been all summer. And it was a bit burdensome, which is why we needed this year. Yeah, I mean, but when they handled it well, they stepped up to the plate. I had talked to them, said, look, Grady Seal, Dave Landry, like I said, became a full-time officer. Great for us on the full-time side, bad for us on the seal part. But every officer stepped up to the plate and didn't muscle it.
I'm surprised how many people in this place dollars.
There's a lot. There's a lot. But I just feel 24 hours a week at this point.
Yeah, you see Mrs. Dog all over the place, but while you're in action. Any more questions on the animal control?
Good line.
Second, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
One more, Chief.
Capital outlay, that was what we got tonight, some financial figures, right, Tony, with the grants? I'm sorry?
The grants have remained fairly consistent. This year, the state is not doing grants for checkpoints.
For the what?
The DOT checkpoints.
Oh gee, there's gonna be a celebration as soon as.
I figured they're right. I figured they're right. They said we can either use some of our DWI controls as saturation control, or we can use those to run a checkpoint if we so choose. I haven't made a determination yet, but I'm leaning towards not having a checkpoint next year if we're not getting grant money for it. I think there's an argument to be said that there might be more of an advantage to saturation controls on particular nights. It's very effective down south. Summers where it doesn't become with Dover and other area towns that police takes part in it, and they get better numbers and better results. If you travel in Dover during the summer, you know that there's going to be a lot of police outside at once. There's a reason for that. So I'm leaning that way this time.
So you're gonna try that now, you said they're not doing the grant for the checkpoint?
They're not authorizing any checkpoint grant money this year. Traditionally, they've given enough money for 6 officers from our towns who want a checkpoint. Of course, we use mutual aid with other towns that don't take it. But they're not giving that anymore. And they didn't increase our DWI patrol money by 6 officers either. They just kept it the same.
So instead of having that 5 or 6 hour intensive one night, would that be something that you might be able to spread out over 2 or 3 weekends or 4 weekends or?
Yes, we would pick some strategic weekends, obviously.
Right.
And concentrate on those weekends.
Listen, that may be beneficial.
Oh, I'm correct. Is it correct as of January 1st that checkpoints are no longer legal in the state of New Hampshire?
We haven't done that work yet. It hasn't been decided. Not that I know of. So, they're still legal right now, but there is,
But like past, I think it was February that, right, doesn't mean that it is correct, but that the legislation passed that they were no longer constitutional.
I don't know that it did, to be honest with you. I don't know that it did. Because if it had passed, it would have probably gone into law very shortly thereafter. And we had to set a checkpoint over the summer.
Yeah, well, usually when it passes, I think you have to wait until the next actual year for it to be.
It's dependent. Some of them will, they'll say 90 days from date of signature, so I don't know. I can't speak to that. But I have not heard that they will, as I've indicated this week.
So these are all grants, and I mean, not
100%, yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on this section?
Move 17,250.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Chief. Unless you want to do voter registration.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time tonight, folks.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Took a big chunk of that out of our schedule for us tonight. It's almost half of it. Thanks, Chief, everybody. Voter registration, general government, page 3.
So there's only one election next year, do you remember?
Yes.
That's why it's down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that does, I mean, and like the election for the town clerk, that bounces back and forth. I was just kind of curious about the supervisor's wages. If it's in the notes, it's 110 hours at $8, and that's $880. I didn't know where the other 320, not that that's a big deal, but I didn't know where the other $320 for the supervisor's wages were going.
The math doesn't work.
Someone may ask at the public hearing, so.
I think there's just a little wiggle room in case they have to meet again, or they want to purge the list, or meet together
Okay.
to purge the list.
Yeah.
I think that 110 hours is to cover the election.
Okay.
But this is what they submitted, and it's.
I'll move the 1,600.
But like I say, someone may come up at the public hearing and ask, I'd just like to know.
Well, it could be more than 8 hours. I mean, they're not working morning, but they're 8 hours in the afternoon, right, Con?
Well, they have other things to do too, voter registration, and they have to go over, they have to update the checklist, and it's not just, they don't just work on election day, so. Did you make a motion, Howard?
Yeah.
1,600?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
General government, page 4, financial administration.
So I just want to tell you guys that this budget is actually 3 separate budgets. So you got the pay fees and the professional audit, which is one part of it. And then you've got the piece that the tax collector is responsible for, from deputy assistant down to tax collector's expenses, and then the treasurer piece is separate. So your tax collector is here to respond to the middle part that she's responsible for. If you have questions on the other 2 portions, I can probably make a stab at explaining those.
Are we locking with the auditors for 3 years?
I believe next year,
Next year's the last year, right?
right, but we also have the option for 2 more years. So I believe we did a 3-year. I can't remember because I wasn't here. It was either 3 or a 5 year. We had the option of 2 additional years if we're happy with them. I probably will make a recommendation to the board of selectmen to stay with them for the additional 2 years because I think they do a nice job. And
Change managers though?
well, we already have because Greg Colby left the firm.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we've already had one change.
Traditionally, after 3 years or 2 or 3 years, you ask for a new managing partner. Just be wise, that's all.
I'm okay with that. Or I can do that again next summer for the
Yeah.
following year.
But I think they do a good job though.
I do too, and the escalator for the additional 2 years is small. And I think if we go out to bid, we might see a much bigger escalation, and including from them. Like I think if they can keep us another 2 years, they won't increase it as much as they would if they had to rebid and do all the documentation.
Yeah, everything else seems to be going up, so I imagine that would probably,
Yeah.
with a new company that would go, but they do the school too, so I mean, they're pretty well involved with the town and the schools.
Still have to do that GASB 75. Huh?
Mm.
My bank fees are up a little bit more, but we've collected $19,000 in interest on the bank accounts right now, and I'm projecting we'll probably finish up the year with $26,000. And I believe last year we only collected $8,000 or $9,000 total for the year. So we've changed the way we hold our money a little bit and have just done so much better with the interest rate. So the fee doesn't bother me so much going against that $20,000 we've already gotten in interest.
The bank fees are profile, so. Right? Bank file, those
Yeah.
are,
Yeah, that's profile.
Yeah, and just buying deposit slips,
yep.
minor things.
Angie's is fine.
So how do you want to approve this? Do you want to approve
Just
this
a-
separately?
Well, just out of curiosity, we're doing that section first, we're
Yeah,
doing the
that's
whole.
what I'm wondering.
Yeah, well, I was just curious about the, looks like the tax collector wages went down somewhat.
Take a vacation.
From 2018.
Are you working on it, Angie?
I'm going to be decreasing my hours to 35 hours a week instead of 37.5.
Oh, okay. Working towards retirement, easing into.
Ease my way in.
There you go, then when you stop working, you won't even notice.
I think we have to put the bottom line. We can't do it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I would think so, probably, the entire, yeah, I don't think we need to do separate lines. Anybody have any questions on this section for the 95,745?
Move the line.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, Andy. Land use, general government, the top of page 7. Good, thanks, how are you? Good.
So do you guys all know Russell Nichols? He's our new building inspector, code enforcement, deputy health officer.
Great, welcome to the budget committee. I hadn't met you before, I emailed, I didn't know if you would be here or if Victor would be here, but. Land use.
I have a question on the lake testing data coalition.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's water quality testing for the beaches, for the public beaches.
Public beaches?
Public beaches, yes.
What do you use for that?
State mandates that we use, change sometimes from year to year. They give us a, this is what you're going to use. So whoever they're using, they want us to use the same facility, so we get the same results.
Because I know we use University of New Hampshire,
Yeah.
Bob Craycraft.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me, Molly, that I didn't know that we were doing water testing, but on the beach, public beaches, and I think we have 2 or 3 state mandates that we do the water testing.
Mm-hmm.
And they determine who the testing lab is, I guess, so, not a lot of flexibility.
No.
And they charged us $2,700 last year just to do the lake testing. And we.
I don't think the University of New Hampshire
We charge it.
very much,
No,
but,
we don't get charged that much.
No.
He does 4 testings now.
but we don't
With
have,
6
we
different
don't have the
spots.
options a lot. We're kind of tied on, unless we get rid of the public beaches, and I don't think we're ready to do that.
That'd probably have to be a state certified testing.
Yeah, probably,
Stuff.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, they test for a little bit more than sometimes some of the smallest facilities do. They have a lot more tests
Yeah.
at the state level. So,
Yeah, you need to have that official stamp on there. I was wondering about the mileage is up quite a bit. 56 cents a mile, that's 1,100 miles for conferences and seminars.
I was wondering.
well, it's not just conference and seminars, it's when there's land use, when there's meetings that we have to go to at sites. Victor does a lot of investigations prior to the planning board meetings. He has to go out so he can report to the board what's going on there. So there's mileage there, there's mileage for training.
Okay.
So that's what mileage.
Don't we have a car?
I thought we had, I thought that.
We have one vehicle, two people, so we share it as best we can. You know, with the building inspection being what it is, I'm averaging 6.5 hours a day on the road right now.
Just seems like $550 increase in mileage is a lot.
We've got new salary because we split this clerical staff salary between,
Well, what, the land use clerical wages, the increase in that was, Victor is spending approximately 12 to 14 hours per week doing land use work, working with residents for variances, for planning board meetings, sending out things, and doing all of that. And there's never been a line item for that in the building department budget, so we took some out and put some in here, put it where it should be appropriately. So there was a lot of time that the building department was absorbing that was land use.
yeah, I saw the public safety thing.
Yeah, well, because in the, let's see, building inspection line, and, looks like there was some move to the land use budget,
Yeah, the
12,000, I think,
12,000.
land use.
Yeah.
For,
except on the code enforcement side, the explanation was one block down from where it should be. I think that's on that.
okay. I was reading this, 40 hours less, 12,000 in land use budget, 36,282,
Yeah.
40-hour week.
So it's just been moved,
Just remove.
Just, yeah.
so hence the increase, that's fine.
Move 22,402.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Public safety, code enforcement, building inspector, public safety, page 5.
Yeah, that's right, part-time inspector in 12. Yeah, good.
So on the hours, we're showing the building inspector and the shoreline officer going to a full-time position. And I've got some numbers here I'll read to the board. What I did was, just as a comparison factor, I did it in the same time frame this year as last year. This year, and this is from May 29th, which is when I started, to today's date, which updated it today. This year, there were 564 permits issued to the state. Last year, there was 309. Inspections were 584 to this date. In that last 6 months, there was 354 last year. Violations that we've investigated was 44 this year, 15 last year. Citizen complaints that we logged was 23 so far this year, 0 last year. Site evaluations, we've done 18, 0 last year. Health inspections, we did 4 so far this year, 0 last year. Violation letters, sent out to 12 different individuals, multiple letters. There was 14 done last year. Cease and desist orders, there were 9 issued this year, 0 last year. Totals were 1,258 actions this year versus 692. And during the same time frame last year, you had 3 inspectors working a total of 72 hours per week. We have 2 inspectors that are working a total of 64 hours per week. We doubled the workload and taken 20% of the hours off.
Okay.
We have a lot of work that we're still not being able to get to because of time constraints. We have a lot of code complaints we've taken in, and we categorize them as critical, and then as we can get to the rest. We've increased the building permit fees about 32% just in the last month. Money that the department's taken in so far is $69,978 to date. With the new proposed fees, if we were to add those fees to that, that would change it to $101,468, which I think justifies part of the increase in bringing people on full-time, 2 people on full-time, helps soften the blow because it brings it in user fees. 2017 budget for the building department, $124,258. We're proposing $137,139 with 2 full-time inspectors. The work is being done now. A lot of things weren't being done prior. We're enforcing all the codes. We're doing all the proper inspections. I've made a lot of changes in the office since I've been here. Things weren't being permitted before that our zoning was requiring, because people just weren't doing them. We're requiring everything in our zoning to be permitted. And the office has made a lot of good improvements, and we're really looking out for the residents of town.
Thanks. Thank you. Now, how is it, now, how did all the repairs go? Everything back to normal down there since, that was last year that flooded, so that's all?
Everything's 100%.
So no problem?
No problems. Plenty of space. We're working within what we have. And everybody's got good working computers. We all have a workspace. So, and it's neat, clean. And
no moisture, no noise problems,
yeah,
no air quality problems, and nothing going on down there?
We have a little teeny tiny mouse problem.
yeah.
Join the group.
I think I killed about 75 of the team.
Yeah, we got, I think everybody has that.
Yeah.
How many months did that department go without an employee in charge?
It never went without an employee. We increased Victor's hours. Victor originally was working 20 hours a week. Pre-Russell, we had an employee working 32 hours a week. W. David Stevens was slotted for 20. He was averaging about 15 or 16 a week. And then Victor was working like 25 in the summer, 15 in the winter, so we averaged it at 20. So that made the 72 hours that Russell alluded to, 32, 20, 20, 72 hours. When we put our former land use clerk on administrative leave, we bumped Victor up to 32 hours, and we increased his hourly rate to cover and manage the office down there, and we gave Bridget some additional hours too for clerical. So we never really went without a person, but we went from 72 hours to 32 hours, and he just kept getting further and further behind. We ran the ad once we had an opening, and hired Russell at the end of May, so there were some hours that weren't covered from January to I think the middle of April. But we did, like I said, increase Victor's hours. So, and we hired MRI to do, I think, 10 hours a week. So we were lucky enough to get Kevin Paul through MRI. So we had the 32 hours, and then our MRI kind of filled in the backfill into the building piece for 8 to 10 hours a week. So we had like 42 hours, 44 hours out of the 72. So we did fall behind, and it's a testament to how well Victor and Russell work together, and they're kind of clearing the backlog, but we still don't have enough hours to do all the code enforcement, obviously we hope that the building will slow down a little bit in the winter so we can do a little more code enforcement, but that isn't really the way it's shaping out.
But that does explain the big difference in what was done last year, what was done since then, because of the fact you didn't have that many hours.
Well, what I did was I took the same time frame, June to November last year, as I did this year, on the comparisons that I was doing. It wasn't a year total, it was just, basically I took from the time I started to today, and I took that same time frame last year. It was good because it's summer months and everybody assumes that that's the busiest time. We are very busy. We've got 22 new homes so far this year in town. I think I have plans for at least 3 more sitting down on my desk, and we probably have another 4 or 5 that I know.
Urban sprawl, it's here. This is 1,785 miles. That's for that's above and beyond what we do with the vehicle for the inspectors, meetings, training.
Again, we have 2 people going full time, pretty much. I'm here Monday through Thursday. Victor's here Tuesday through Friday right now. So we both basically there's 3 days a week that the vehicle isn't available for one of us. So one of us has to take our own personal vehicle. We were down like to see probably maybe in another year or so is maybe go for another used vehicle for the department if that was possible. But I don't want to bring it all on, I'm trying to bring it, what I'm trying to do right now is cover the workload. The vehicle, I think we can pay the mileage, cover the workload, I think that's more important than getting a vehicle this year. And again, I plan on looking at the fees biannual, building fees, because construction costs go up, and that's what we base it off of, the national average. We're still $44 below the national average, but I didn't want to bring it up, because it hadn't been changed in 11 years, the building fee. So I didn't want to bring it up to where it should be. I just figured if we take a little chunk every 2 years at this point, and eventually we'll get to where we should be. I don't want to give people heart attacks.
I hit sticker shock.
Yeah.
How is the vehicle that the building department vehicle?
We got a Toyota 4Runner, it's a 2006, it's got 100,000 miles on it. It's a Toyota, it should go, we hope to get 4 or 5 years out of it. We're going through, some days it's 100 miles a day, driving around town. It's big time, a lot of miles to cover. Like Mondays I come in, I usually have 12 to 13 inspections because I'm off Friday. And then I'm averaging 7 or more per day the rest of the week.
Okay.
If you want to see the old one, I started at Crawls today, went down there to get a tire fixed. It's covered with dust, no plates on it. It looks kind of forlorn down there.
Yeah.
When did you drop it off?
Oh, geez, 6, 8 weeks ago?
Okay.
And we have a bid,
Yeah.
so I don't know what the bid is yet.
Yeah, we haven't got to look at it yet.
No, we have sealed bids, and somebody actually bid on it, so
Oh,
maybe it's.
perfect.
I got an idea I know that why they did it.
What is the, can I ask a question on the 911 street address and GPS location? How do we get revenue?
So that gets done by the user fees. But unfortunately, since 2015, the department has never assigned it to be paid. So now I'm playing catch up. Hopefully we get this $6,000 that we have in there is to bring us up to date. And then obviously that'll drop back down to a normal. It's for the mapping, for our maps for 911.
I didn't know where the revenue came from, but that's part of the building fees.
Right, there is a fee that they pay in the mapping and the permitting process, but if the department then doesn't say, pay it, it just goes back into the general fund somewhere. And that's what's happened since 2015.
We had budgeted for it, but it hadn't been paid.
Right.
So that we're behind. We're playing catch up this year.
Did you find out a lot of things, it sounds like?
Well, we found a lot of things, I guess I don't want to put anybody down, but things weren't being done the way they should have been done in a lot of things, and we've corrected a lot of our procedures. Changed a lot of the ways we do things now, which is more efficient. We have a beautiful, fairly expensive computer system for it, and it was being utilized about 2%. It's 100% in use now since I've been here. I changed it all. I got everybody out. Fortunately, it was the same system I was working with at the last town I was with, so I was very familiar with it. I trained Victor and I trained Bridget on it. And everything now goes through Avatar. You can come into the office and say, tell me how many inspections you've done for this year. I'm going to put a report, and in 30 seconds I can give you a printed receipt of everything that's been done. We have to have it. It just wasn't being used, but now we're using it fully. So at the end of each year, like if you build a house, you come in and you say, Russ, what inspections were done on that house while it was being built? I can print out a report that tells you the day, time, what inspection was done, whether it passed, whether it had to be re-inspected. It all comes out on printouts. We can give that out to the person with the certificate of occupancy if they'd like it, and we have no problem doing that. So it's a great system, it just wasn't being utilized. So.
How often do code books change?
Well, it used to be every 6 years. 2015 code has been before the state legislature for the last 2 years. They dropped that, and in this spring session, we'll be going after the 2018 building code. The code itself changes every 3 years. The state usually does it every 6, and they run 6 behind. So they've dropped the 15 for this year and going after the 2018, trying to get that approved.
that 1,500 shows on this,
That's
won't
one
reoccur till the legislature decides to do something.
April, May timeframe, but we want to be prepared for it because we have to basically replace every one of the books, and they're $100+ a book.
Any more questions on this? Oh, yes, Frank.
If the GPS fees are allocated but not paid in previous years, is it not possible or not appropriate to reach back into the general fund for that? I don't know.
Not at this time, we can't go backwards.
You can only encumber 1 year, and if you didn't do the work, you can't encumber it, so.
Fair enough.
I'd love to be able to do that.
I just wasn't sure
Yeah.
if it's, you know,
Yep.
drop it on 1 year, and that's part of it, that's fine.
Move the 137, 139.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
So there'll be all the one-time expenses.
Conservation Commission, Community Services, page 3. Top of page 3. Looks like that's down $500 from last year. That's always a good thing.
Where did Steve Brown came in and presented this to the selectmen, and they had money in there to send. We've been doing it for years, even when I was on back then. We had money for sending kids to camp. And last year, we didn't have any takers at all, which kind of surprises me in a town like this that parents wouldn't take advantage of the free tuition to a camp. So anyway, we dropped it from 5 kids down to 4. And if it's not used in the future, I think it'll continue to drop until it gets to 0, but that was their big change.
I gotta tell you, how many years has the Gage Hill kiosk been on here with different items? This hasn't been done yet. Nothing's been spent year to date.
Yeah.
We did finally get the glass spread in the parking lot. DPW did that a couple weeks ago. They wanted to use the glass that we've been stockpiling to kind of define the parking lot over there. And Rob was happy to get rid of some of it. So that
It looks good, I went by it today.
It did get done a couple weeks
They-
ago.
They did the parking lot with that crushed grass?
Yeah.
Crushed glass? They didn't put anything on top of it?
I think they mixed it with.
So
I think,
we did the parking lot of the food pantry.
I think when I used it as a food pantry, the regulation was that you could use it as a sub base, so we had to put 4 inches of hard tack on top of it. So if you have a low spot, you can build it up with that, but then you have to cover it with the hard tack.
Well, that's right, because plastic is washed right away
Yeah.
easy, so
Yeah.
you have to have some.
He used gravel with it. I don't know if he mixed it first or put it over,
I
but
think you put the gravel over, that's what we had to do.
Mhm.
Teresa, you may want to take this campership thing back to the school to see if you can get 4 people that are interested in going to this. Okay? She'll get 4 people.
It's a great program.
It is.
Yeah, I mean,
They've been doing it for years.
well, that's who they work. They work with guidance counselor at
Yeah.
the school. That's who they
I'm
go through.
But
really
just- that's
disappointing
good.
that we can't get young people into that. I don't blame the kid. I just wish the parents would be more involved.
I'll bring the information back.
A lot of it's the electronic age and gadgets. and,
Yeah,
I mean,
I know, Jerry, but I mean, these 4-H camps, 15 years ago, they had to submit an essay to get into it.
Uh-huh.
And now we don't.
Now you're begging them to come in. Yeah, times change. Any more questions on the 3516 for the Conservation Commission?
We'll move the line.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, patriotic purposes. Community services, page 2. Bottom of page 2.
Is that good? That's down good?
Yeah, why is that then?
So I bought a couple of 4x6 flags for parks. I bought some veterans flags for the cemetery. Actually, Phil Twombly purchased them. I think we paid for them out of here. And then we bought the banners that we hang. We needed those. The hangers for the banners are $88 a piece. So we bought a few extras of those. They take some wear and tear. Not so much being hung up, but taking them down and putting them up everywhere, they get some damage. So we bought a few extras of those. But even with that, you know, we only spent $14,0781. So I decreased that a little bit, and that still gives me enough money to purchase the veterans flags for the cemeteries and some extra park flags.
And those are the ones that are on the phone poles in town?
The banners, yes.
Yeah.
Does Lyman still do that?
No. Move the line?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Agriculture Commission, Community Services, page 3. Next page.
Should we put a button in this oval line?
Bottom of page 3.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Right now, we only have one member that's sworn in.
Really?
What is it that they do?
We don't know.
Okay.
We should put a dollar in there to keep it there, though.
Yeah.
There's a placeholder just in case.
Do you want the dollar in the office expenses or the clerical? Do you care?
It doesn't matter to me, what do you think?
Let's put $1 in both.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking, because, you know, no.
Just to hold it, just to hold it.
Oh, it doesn't, you know, otherwise you can't spend money.
That's right.
Well, that's $2 we got to spend so far this year.
Oh, move that
That
line?
might pump it up.
You want to move that line?
Yeah.
$2?
Second.
Any discussion?
If there is, I believe it.
All in favor? Aye. Agriculture, oh, yeah, there we go. Put that already done that. Personal benefits, general government, page 6. I'll go through those too fast.
Did we send the health insurance out to bid this year?
No.
If you remember last year, health insurance went down 0.5%. And this year it's up, so if you look at those, if you want to, I look at it as averaging the increase over 2 years as opposed to all of it coming this year, because most health insurance programs have been experiencing annual increase. If I can just say this, but if you can give me just a minute, you know, I've been on budget for 18 years, and now I'm kind of on the other side of the fence here with trying to keep, maintain, and attract employees. When you look at the town employees, and we have 7 full-time firemen, and I don't know how many police and DPW, the government employees that we employ, they can go to any town around here, and the 2 things they look at is hourly wage and the health benefits. And this isn't going to go away. Unless all the towns drop health care, we're going to have to offer it to be competitive and to be able to maintain and attract employees. I was talking to one of my neighbors today, and Howie, you know him, John Meyer, who is an executive in the insurance industry. I would like to propose that 3 or 4 of us get together with Kelly and take an in-depth look at health insurance. When I was at the county, they got a real low deductible paid the deductible and they ended up saving money and they got a better plan for it. And I think John Myers has got a wealth of experience in how he spent your life in it. I'd like to have this town sit down and take a real hard look at healthcare and see if we can't come up with a program that's equal to or better than we have now for the same kind of money. But, you know, this increase is large. It bothers me as much as it bothers everybody else in town. But I really don't have an answer other than if we want to keep our firemen and policemen, we have to be competitive, and this is one of the things they look at.
Yeah, Hopkins also does pays the deductible for their employees.
Yeah.
So this also includes 3 full-time new firefighters for a whole year, whereas we had a 60-day waiting period. They didn't get hired until June 1st in most cases, so they didn't come on the insurance until August 1st. So it was only really 4 months of last year. So it includes your 3 additional. And then I've also had to budget for making the 2 land use building people full-time. So that's included in here for next year. Selectman Miller asked me to do a little bit of a comparison, just a short and sweet survey of local communities that are proximate to us to see what kind of insurance they have. Farmington has a no deductible plan. The employee pays 12%. They also offer life, short-term and long-term disability, 100% paid by the town. We do not have any of those 3. Ossipee has a no deductible plan as well, and the employee pays based on the date of hire. Anybody hired after 2017 is paying 20%, but those hired before 2017 are paying 5 or 10%, which is less than we pay. They offer life and short-term disability, no long-term. Those are 100% paid by the town. We don't have that here. Milton has a school choice Cigna program, which is a little different than ours. They pay 10%. There's no deductible. The only other town that had the high deductible plan that we have, which is $1,000 and $3,000, is New Durham, and they contribute towards the deductible for their employees. Those were the towns nearest to us. The New Hampshire Municipal Managers Login, who did a survey a couple weeks ago, and I just happened to be paying attention to it, and 18 towns chimed in. Of the 18 towns, only 5 of them had this high deductible plan, and they either paid 100% of the deductible or 50% of the deductible or some sliding scale. In addition, all of these towns except us, Farmington, New Durham, Ossipee, and Milton, all pay something if somebody doesn't take the insurance, which is going to become another problem for us because, you know, if we hired a police officer and his wife works at Comcast and has really good health insurance, but she can get $3,000 to not take it, that person is going to come on our family plan so that they can get the $3,000 in cash from Comcast. And so you're starting to see that towns are giving, and it's not anywhere near what a family plan. A family plan is around $25,000 a year, but they're giving. Farmington gives $5,000, New Durham gives $3,200, Ossipee gives $2,000, and Milton gives $3,200. So this is another piece that we're going to have to start looking at, or everybody that comes on our insurance is going to opt in because if their wife is covered or their husband, whatever, their spouse, they'll come off their insurance and come onto ours to get the cash from the other company.
Right.
So.
Who's got knocked out, right?
I think last year we talked a little bit about that because we had discrepancies where if we hired 2 people and one of them was single and one was married and had a family plan, the one with the family plan was making like $14 an hour more than the single person just by virtue of getting the value of the policy. So
Yeah, here it runs around, it's a little less than $8,000 for a 1-person plan, around $15,500 for a 2-person, and around $25,000 for a family plan. And that's after the employee pays the 12%. But, you know, we also have all the things that go against that. We have a high deductible. None of the other towns I survey whether they were near us or away from us, that have those high deductible plans requires the employee to pay 100% of the deductible except us. We don't have any life insurance. We don't have any short-term disability. We have the ability to purchase it out of our own pocket, but you know, we're trying to make sure our wages keep pace with the time, and if people are spending $3,000 or $4,000 a year purchasing insurance that they can get, and that's not, I didn't even survey Wolfboro. I mean, we're not able to touch theirs, but Ossipee and Milton and Farmington all have better insurance than we do, and those are going to be, you know, if you're a local person and you want to stay local, those are competition towns.
Right. Well, we have been working on this for 3 or 4 years, starting with the wage study and trying to get onto the wage study and get that done. I mean, so we have been trying to get this done for about 3 or 4 years, hasn't it been?
Yeah, but that hasn't addressed the.
Well, no, but, right, but I mean, you know, if you hit the taxpayers with, because we had some pretty good salary increases to get onto the wage study, but I mean, maybe it's time now to work on that as
I think we're making a lot of progress on the wage side of it. That's not my concern where I'm sitting right now, but I really think we should get a small committee together and take a real hard look at insurance, look at our competition, and come up with a package that is going to help us retain, attract employees. And we've lost 7 policemen, and you know, that's hard, that's expensive, and I don't want to be leading the charge on, you know, pay and insurance, but I think we should be competitive. So Howie, you know, you and I and John Meyer, maybe somebody else, I think it'd be a good project.
I think we talked about the by the way, the teachers have an opt-out too. So if they don't take it, they get an opt-out.
But that,
Yeah, no, we do.
The school has an opt-out program.
yeah, exactly.
Thought they did.
Yeah, no, we do. We're in the middle of obviously negotiations, but Cadillac policies are also, so we're doing our own stuff, trying to be progressive, like the town would be.
Yeah, I think it's a little scary when we shop health insurance, because I don't think we should look at it as a standalone thing. I think it's health, it's dental, it's vision, it's life insurance, short-term, long-term, you know, I think you have to look at the whole package, the buyout if they don't take, I think it's a comprehensive wage and salary study.
But we did it with the towns for our employees.
And I would also say that, you know, we can go out in the open marketplace, but places like Primax or School Care that are catering to school employees or the town employees also offer wellness programs, employee assistance programs, where if you buy, you know, Harvard Pilgrim Health standalone, you won't have all these other, you know, kind of, you know, free flu shots and clinics and things that we can partake in. So we want to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges and not apples to oranges.
Has the government started, have they changed the Cadillac tax yet, or are they?
No, the school is, the teachers right now are, they're being impacted by it.
2023. 2023 is the year you're talking about that they have the excise tax. That would have to be moved.
So they keep pushing it out because it was supposed to be 2020.
Right, correct. Currently it's 2023.
So they haven't released what the figure's going to be or what the limits are. I mean, they had some preliminary numbers, but.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's how they got you onto this high deductible plan, because they convinced you that if you went on this high deductible plan, then you wouldn't have to pay the Cadillac tax, and then they moved it 2 years out. So now your employees have $1,000 to $3,000 deductible.
Yeah.
I'm not so worried about a highly compensated employee like me, but I think that when you hire, you know, a guy from 1325 at the transfer station and he breaks his arm on a weekend, if he doesn't have $1,000, is he going to the ER? Like, I don't ever want to see anybody not partake.
Well, that would be workman's comp, so I mean, that would be.
Well, if he broke his arm falling off a ladder at home, it's not workers' comp.
Oh, I thought you meant he worked at the, I thought he broke it at the, I thought he broke it at
No,
the
I've
transfer
seen
station.
people not get the health care they need, especially younger people, because they don't have $1,000 sitting in the bank to pay that copay. And I don't want to ever see anybody not partake in health care that they need.
I thought they were working at the transfer station. But the best thing they could do is have someone haul them down to the transfer station and throw a ladder on top of them.
Let's not commit insurance fraud.
We're just
Not
suggesting,
even hypothetical.
we're just suggesting it, we're not actually,
Advocating it.
yeah. But the insurance, I mean, that's been a battle for everybody, I mean, for
Right.
years, I mean, so it's,
I got another comment on this budget, non-health related. All the time I've been on this budget committee, I've never ever seen the state retirement percentages go down as they are in July. You look at all three of them.
Yeah.
They
have
each percentage is going down.
We handled the Conservation Commission budget, and we did a good job.
That's just, that's
Thanks,
the way
Steve.
it actually went down. For a retirement plan that's still underwater, I don't understand, that's right.
Yeah, but it made 8.9%.
Huh?
It's funny because I got a statement in the mail this summer that said it made 8.9% in its returns, and then the next week it was in the paper for not being solvent.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It's supposed to be solvent till by 2038.
Then it would be dead, we don't have to worry about it. But you know, at least we're not in Illinois or California.
Yeah, exactly.
I make a motion to remove this line,
Well,
$1,055,509.
Second.
get a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
And one final thing, I think Kelly did a really great job on the budget this year.
yeah, me too.
It's, we haven't made any changes, as you can see, but we did our homework over on this side, and Kelly was leading the charge, but she did a good job.
Well, we appreciate that, yeah, that's good,
Explanations
yeah.
were excellent. It was really nice to have the detailed explanations. for
These,
everything.
this was Kelly's idea, I think it was really great.
No, it wasn't. It was yours. You made me do it.
Dave,
He made me do it.
well, at least he's giving you credit for it. He has a conscience.
But I'm gonna, my annual session comment that any of these lines can be revisited prior to public hearing.
Right.
Like every other year.
Yeah, every other year.
And then you've been working on warrant articles now, or you have?
I'm going to talk to the selectmen tomorrow night about when they want to do a work session on warrant articles, because with the CIP and the new ones proposed, there's a lot of things to decide. You know, normally it's the ones you have, are we going to put money in, are we going to put more money in, less money, when are we purchasing a fire truck, when are we purchasing an ambulance, do we have enough go? But with the CIP, it's going to be a little bit more in-depth conversation about what we're funding, what we're starting, what we're going to continue to fund. We've had some issue with the bridge. The state aid bridge program is subscribed through 2029 and not taking any bridges into it. So does it make sense for us to continue to put, to put a ton of money in that, or can we buy 4 more years out? I mean, there's a lot of things that the board is going to have to take a look at and make some hard decisions on, because if we fund everything, I think in the CIP alone, it's like $636,000. And obviously that would be very impactful. And since I think Angie took 55 calls in 2 hours last week about people's tax bills, we would prefer not to do that again.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not, yeah. So we'll have another meeting sometime in December, maybe the third week in December, and then.
Yeah, we've got some homework to do on the reserves.
Right, but I mean, you get all the insurance figures, I mean, all that stuff's done early enough, so we don't, that won't. I think so. I think the next meeting we have is the 19th to review the school budget. That'll be 6:30. I'm sorry?
Week from tonight, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And that'll be at the library at the school. Does anybody have anything else to offer?
I think it's a Monday, isn't it?
I think it's a Tuesday. Was it?
I think it's a Monday.
Oh, yeah, Monday, the 19th.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.